Mr. Speaker, many times in this legislature we've heard the government stand and defend the use of proper process. In fact, I think it was just called procedural fairness, Mr. Speaker. Well, procedural fairness is good for the government when they're defending the process that will help reward their friend and donor Charles McVety, Mr. Speaker. But since forming government in 2018, the government has circumvented the proper, procedurally fair land use planning process in this province at least 33 times through Ministerial Zoning Orders, Mr. Speaker. Instead of adhering to the independent planning process in municipalities, consulting with residents and communities, with stakeholders and groups of interest, they've fast-tracked development applications of their choosing, Mr. Speaker. They're hand-picking the planning lottery winners, Mr. Speaker, and it's got to stop.
Question.
Mr. Speaker, when will the government stop playing politics and follow their own advice about the importance of independent processes?
Thank you. Refer to the Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the member opposite for that question. Mr. Speaker, as I've pointed out a number of times in this House, every single ministerial zoning order that has been issued by the minister has been at the request of the municipality, unless the lands are provincially owned. Mr. Speaker, the examples of these projects include such as allowing outdoor patio expansions in Toronto, a medical innovation park in Ormadonte, will build PPE, Mr. Speaker, and construction of modular supportive housing units in Toronto. In all, our MZOs are accelerating 3,700 long-term care beds, building 720 affordable homes, 100 supportive units, almost 16,000 much-needed market price homes, Mr. Speaker. Doing all of this while creating 26,000 jobs, Mr. Speaker. We will not apologize for this, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Back to the member from Orleans for supplementary.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. The parliamentary assistant said that all of their orders were done in consultation with municipalities or at their request. This morning, the mayor of Aurora, Tarm Rakis, issued a statement denying that the town was consulted during that MZO process, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the government is issuing MZOs that put agricultural land in Vaughan at risk, that put provincially significant wetland in Pickering at risk, and my fear, Mr. Speaker, is that they're going to put Class 1 farmland in Ottawa at risk next, Mr. Speaker. Thousands of voices have joined together to urgently ask the government to stop attacking Ontario's precious wetland and green space. Mr. Speaker, through you, when will the government start listening to Ontarians and stop the sneak attack on agricultural land, wetland, and green space?
Thank you. Refer to the government House Leader for a response.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, look, the land in Aurora, of course, is owned by the province of Ontario. If the mayor of Aurora is unhappy with a close to 200-bed long-term care home that is coming there, I would suggest to the mayor of Aurora that Stouffville and many other communities would be happy to get that. But we'll take no lessons in environmental protection from the member opposite. I will say to the member opposite, my family was one of the first families to put a conservation easement across 60 acres of prime agricultural Class 1 farmland in the town of Stouffville, Mr. Speaker. One of the first in favor of the Oak Ridges Moraine Land Trust in an area that was pristine Class 1 farmland. In the 15 years since that, under the leadership of the Liberals or lack thereof, that 60 acres of farmland is surrounded by housing, Mr. Speaker, because 17 separate occasions that government, under that leadership, invaded the Greenbelt, Mr. Speaker. We have always protected them, and every time we have worked on MZOs, it has been with the consent and approval of the local municipality, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much.